Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Thursday, February 29th, 2024 at, looks like 2:43 in the afternoon. We're back with our legislative council once again to continue our discussions on the FY 25 budget. What did I say?
Two.
Oh, I said two, sorry. 142. Yeah, I'm ahead of myself.
Good listen. It was like,
Yeah, get ready. 15 minutes, we'll go on to the floor. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, I see number. Okay.
Did you all, Rick Sagal, legislative council, did you all get anywhere after I left? I need to be,
Wendy's in the building. We have her come in. I just saw her.
Yeah.
Send her.
Yeah.
sorry.
Do you want any more information on the upskill? I know Green Mountain Retention Program is.
I do. I feel pretty comfortable with where we ended up. I might be curious, just to ask what she thinks about where we ended up, but I don't know that it's essential to getting this out myself.
I think, so the Green Mountain Job Retention Program, maybe we can add. Something to the effect, because this is a 2-year, because it is a 2-year program. Money that they have currently just continues to fund the people who have already signed up.
Yeah, the first year.
So further funding will now take us into another 2-year cycle. I don't, that's, you could certainly wordsmith that, but that's the thought. Further funding would continue to would continue the program for it for another 2 years. For another 2 years.
Um. To me, another valid point is it continues to build on, to build our population.
Yeah, well, I think maybe we say, this program. I don't know if we know this or not. It just seems like this program is more successful than our remote worker, relocated worker programs were in the past, but I can't say that without looking at, without having more data.
I mean, something we do know is that people who are, I think large majority of people who would take this opportunity would already have housing. Too, so we're not worried about I feel like we're not necessarily worried about the housing.
Well, that can still be an issue.
It still can be an issue, but I think it's less,
Yeah, because,
it already happens.
but they may have,
May.
I don't know. Um, So at this point, I mean, for me, this is probably one program that we don't back down from.
Yeah, I guess I would say that I would like to see us, say that we do support this
Yeah.
appropriation.
Not saying that you know, if there's funds available and all that, I think that it's like, this is one program that we fully support
Yeah,
at its requested amount.
Fully support?
Yep.
I would agree, no qualifiers, and I think that the emphasis on the fact that this is, as I was just saying earlier, not only is it a two-year program, it's folks who participate in this are invested in Vermont for 2 years. That's a important distinction from a lot of the other kind of programs we tend to work with, and I think that emphasis is, I'm very curious, 5 years from now, if this program keeps going, to really be able to check, you know, is 2 years a good, I don't know what kind of ramp it is, growth ramp for people to put their roots on,
Yeah.
down really in
Yeah.
Vermont and stay here, who otherwise would not have stayed here and gone to Boston or wherever else they would.
yeah, if you can track them, that'd be really interesting.
Well, and we did ask them. to do. Okay. Then the humanitarian parolees, new refugee transitional housing. We know that they funded, that in BAA, they funded the 671,000. And there's an additional ask for this budget of,
27, 700.
that what it is? I wrote it down somewhere and that. Okay. 317,700,
327,
327,700.
so
Okay. What did we put in the BAA letter?
Can you pull that up from this year?
Yeah.
You gotta remember that.
Yeah, because.
At some point, you'll say, Ricky, been here for, can't use the excuse anymore. But, here we are. Let's see it.
We're not there yet.
We're not. Oops, that's not open.
6 years.
Oops. See that. This may be an earlier version. Yeah, earlier version.
We're the first.
It wasn't that early.
Maybe we'll be the last.
Hey.
Well, I didn't mean that as a bad thing. I just, that's not the correct version.
Any small affirmations all the time.
Wow.
You guys are great.
Wow.
But you were not the first committee to vote on one of my bills. I think this is it. Okay, the 18th. We had is this what you're speaking of here?
Maybe we just take that and drop that in there and say has,
Reference in our
has
BAA letter.
Yep.
The committee recommends.
No, not that. We don't,
That-
we don't want that. It's the top.
Part, okay.
Yeah. And we just change the. Maybe we say as recommended in our letter to. HAC, and yeah, the BAA, yeah.
Appropriations.
Um. And maybe, so we'll take out, so. The second to the last line after appropriations, we pull that out. Just say, only recommends that. Fund the requested 27.7. We wanna word it strongly recommend. Okay. That good?
Mhm.
Okay, then the VSO. We wanna weigh in, it's just. It came to us. We can just. I mean, it's just the
Governor's.
governor's recommend anyway, we support the.
We support,
governor's
yeah, we support.
If they play in Bethel for Kirk.
Right, that.
Is there an amount?
Yes.
What was the governor's recommendation?
149,680 $.
680?
The 809. So. Oh,
Like futures projects.
yeah. Yeah, we get this and then we'll have the Vermont Futures Project as well. Okay, we heard Ed this morning. Their request is to,
Have some statutory language changes they want.
that might be how Ed is taking that up, right? So I don't know.
Otherwise, their ask is to. However we worded that for the RPCs, property transfer tax, but for their funding to reflect the statutory formula. Which in this case would be about $600,000 over the coverage recommended.
And what do you want to say?
maybe we want to refer to that report. And just say that while the language may not be changed, I'm just speaking out loud, you know. While the language may not be changed in this document, we support the recommended changes from the report dated
Oh, yeah.
the report, so it's the Adult Education and Literacy Study Student Access Committee report from January 2024. Because that's, I mean, that's all really.
Yeah, we can reference these, so we support recommendations, that report.
Which report was it again?
Adult Education and Literacy Student Access Committee. Student Access Committee.
Is that different than the adult educational literacy HS student access report?
That's the same one.
That's it.
That's it, okay.
Want to lay out what those are or just?
No, I don't think so. They'll probably get more from House Ed anyway. But maybe we,
I mean, I personally don't support it happening in the budget. I'd rather it happens in the miscellaneous education bill, because then it's a committee bill and not a budget bill. And it feels like it's a big enough change to the program that it's a policy change, but that's just my personal.
yeah, well, that depends on how House Ed is gonna
Right. I
develop
don't get
that.
to.
But they are looking at money. So we say how maybe we support recommendations in the report period. However, in order to accomplish the goals or to accomplish the changes specified in the report,
Appropriate funding is necessary. Is that where you're going?
want to say that maybe after the however, yeah. Governors recommend did not provide the needed funding. Necessary to. But we might want to start with, however, the governor's recommendation does not provide the necessary funding. And then in order to make a period after funding, and in order to accomplish these changes specified in the report, we recommend that that uh, House Appropriations Committee looks at the statute, that looks at providing the statute, and I don't know how to. House Appropriations Committee considers funding at the statutory formula.
Say pursuant to.
Yeah. I would, but everyone good with that?
Mhm.
Have Wendy with us, why don't we just run back up to. So the upskilling program, Wendy. Is not in the governor's recommend. We're asking for 1.5 for that. And 1.25 for.
Something I wanna make sure. With the Vermont and Jobs and Retention Program, I felt like sometimes there's, because this is administered out of UVM, but it's for all Vermont's college graduates.
Yeah, they should.
I think we shouldn't have UVM and VSAC sort of be, again, VSAC there. I don't know, I felt like having, it was somewhat of a confusion last year on, who is getting, like, it's slightly confusing that UVM is administering it, but it's going to all state college and
Well, we
graduates,
put
so
that in the- I think you can leave that at UVM and VSAC. Well, it's actually just UVM, VSAC assists you, but the funds for the UVM, right?
Yes, but it's essentially a pass-through program because the funds will out into forgiveness dollars.
So they go from UVM to VSAC, then now, okay, so that's all right, put that UVM VSAC in there. And then, committee appreciates that this program, although funded through UVM and VSAC, is available to all students, available to all graduate students at all colleges and universities in Vermont.
um,
To all graduates of Vermont colleges.
Okay, yeah,
Not graduate students.
It's for
Some.
graduates.
All graduates, yeah, it's not-
undergraduate students, so
yeah, it's all
I'm
graduates.
interested to all graduates of Vermont colleges and universities.
Yeah.
except that it's for four-year institutions.
Yes.
Yeah. Um. Graduates, so. Yeah.
Maybe the program requires participants to accept a job and remain in. I just want to make sure it's clear that people are working in Vermont, like that they, full employment or something like that.
A Vermont job in Vermont.
It's got a, but it's there's a requirement also that it's, not a job at McDonald's. It's.
Right, a qualified job.
And how do you? Trying to remember how it was explained, how you,
I mean, generally, when we write my employee job, we say a job related to field and study.
okay, yeah,
Something along those
yeah,
lines.
yeah.
Qualifying or working due.
Well, you could
Yeah,
say
you could
qualifying
say that.
job in the field of study.
there, yep.
We were looking back at the information. So the upskilling program is open to any Vermonter. There's no financial. So, looking at lower income people, there is a requirement there. But there was and there isn't now,
There was when ARPA required,
right?
it, and then that changed.
Okay. And last year was it ARPA last year
I don't,
or was it general fund?
I think it was general fund.
That's why you were able
Last
to,
year.
or it was ARPA, so you had to change, so, okay. So I think some discussion in here with the committee was that really look at that and maybe go back to that.
Yep.
Trying to looking at individuals that are lower income, that are unemployed or underemployed.
So we have a new person that we just hired to head up professional and continuing development.
Yeah.
And I actually met with her yesterday and had a conversation about this, and she said that putting an income requirement on is entirely appropriate.
Okay.
Oh.
And then another thing we were talking about was having the employer have some skin in the game too, so that we can extend that.
Okay.
To more. Kind of maybe similar to Vermont training program. That's only generally available to manufacturers, but not all the time, but. That way those dollars can go further.
Wendy, would it be appropriate to match since, UVM has, this one's the UVM program. But the UVM matches or offers, tuition. Is it below if your family earns below $75,000 a year?
That's for degree programs.
For degree
These are not-
Yeah,
these are not
these are
degree
not.
programs.
Right, okay.
And that's what's nice about this is that. UVM is. Looking at other areas to improve the workforce. Outside of degree programs. Okay. Everybody good with? Understanding what programs, good, thank you, Wendy.
It's fine.
Well, the Vermont Futures Project, I heard from Tom and the request is 150,000 to continue. Continue the, well, it's from Advanced Vermont for the Vermont Futures Project, but to continue the project, continue it going.
Advance Vermont?
Yeah, Advanced Vermont Futures Project.
You just talked to us, Kevin Shu.
What is it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What is Vermont?
Advanced Vermont?
Advanced Vermont is Tom Cheney.
Yeah, but but what do they call the,
Vermont Futures is
what does Tom call his? Is it?
Advanced Vermont.
Pretty sure.
Thanks. What is the,
My future VT.
my future VT?
So.
I'm thinking about the website.
That's not.
It's Advanced Vermont, my future VT.
My future VT. Okay.
In Vermont,
Is that-
something.
That?
thought we were talking about something totally different.
Yeah.
This is Tom James.
Did Kevin have a request?
And this is not in the governor record, right?
Well, and,
Your testimony?
yeah, we should,
Good.
I asked Department of Labor because the job, job link is still being held up. It's not being stood up. This is part of some of the pieces that will go into job link. And we've heard testimony last year, how important this is, guidance counselors and students and parents on looking at that data set that's there, understanding what jobs and are out there, what kind of training and all of that, so I think it's important for us to fund that, and maybe say
Yeah, I feel like I would like to see this money. I feel like I would almost like to see this money flow through the DOL.
it should be part of the DOL budget.
I wish that they would include it in their budget until such time as they're able to stand up their own program.
Yeah, at which time possibility of merging this into the new job link.
Yeah, I think we heard enough from the department that they also see the value of this program.
Right.
And they see it as filling the need that they intended to fill with the job link. The delays in job link have led to, reliance on this.
Band-Aid is not a technical enough term for this letter.
Did we support the 150?
I would just like to say that I'm lukewarm on this because I feel like we're double paying for what the Department of Labor should have had already in place. And I've been concerned about this since I've learned that this is such a thing, that we're doing this outside of Department of Labor. And it feels very much like a rock and hard place because there's this delay of actually modernizing what the state of Vermont's job link program or job link system should actually be. So I'm not super excited about it if we're forced into it.
I would, partially agree. I think, to me, I feel like this, it's also a weird situation because it feels like a situation where, private entity has been able to do, cheaper and faster what it feels like we've almost put more money into having our own department do, and our own department still hasn't been able to, for various reasons, obviously not all of them within their control. But, it's definitely disappointing that we've had, I feel like a higher investment.
Job link is coming through the federal government, the dollars come
Yeah,
from the federal government. But what
more money overall.
what this is, it's not wasted dollars because this is built and it continues to be upgraded.
Yeah.
That will roll into, it will save a lot of time and a lot of expense from the department having to do all of this work and time. How long is it gonna take to populate that if this wasn't here?
Yeah.
My understanding is that this will be able to be used in the job link along with other aspects of the program. So I don't, in my mind, it's not wasted money. And it's something that Vermonters, both in the school settings and parents and students can access now. They wouldn't have been able to access had Advanced Vermont not done this.
I totally agree with you on that part. It's filling a gap. I'm disappointed in state government not being able to show up in the ways that we need our Department of Labor to be showing up. And I am gonna remain hopeful that this all integrates at the end of this and,
No,
so
agreed, I
I'm just
think.
gonna remain hopeful.
Yeah.
Only a little bit of
Cautiously
worry,
optimistic.
yeah.
Any and beliefs? There's not necessarily a request on where it would come from.
Yeah, and what we've heard anecdotally is that this is being widely used with guidance counselors in high schools throughout the state. I feel like we
Well, yeah, it's being,
In recognition that it is a tool for.
maybe you
Resource.
say it should be. Funding should be.
Then,
Goes within. Or should come from.
going forward,
That mean, this money has flowed to VZAC, then, because there was a sub grant, VZAC helped get this started. And then, money flowed to VZAC afterwards to keep it going. Anything else you wanna put there? Or is that enough? Or do we wanna say? Committee supports this request. And understands that. That this is a. Tool. Being used by. Guidance counselors, students and parents.
They're actually called school counselors these days, not guidance counselors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. One of my, they have an association with one of my clients. Several years.
definitely.
That is the current term, so thank you for all.
You
update.
want to butt there, Mr. Chair? The butt understands?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think, supports this request and understands. Maybe a period after counselors and then say the committee believes.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
That good?
maybe. Too much wordsmithing, but maybe just understands that this tool is being used. That's the. The grandmother's English teacher coming out.
This tool is being widely used.
Yeah.
I sent everyone an email, came from Karen Lafayette.
About the micro grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did, yeah, they got the data from South Coast, so.
And we need to make sure that we refer to the program. It's the micro business development program.
Anyone explain to me what total capital leveraged means exactly?
I think with assuming, because I don't know without their testimony, but that the investments, well, with the dollars that we invested, they were able to leverage
That's how
more
much.
dollars.
Got it.
Let's go with them. Read to.
Under annual statistics. Awesome.
So, yeah, so we're looking at how many businesses were actually able to leverage more capital, I'm assuming. Okay, so is there anything we missed?
We're gonna run through it. So you have the PCCS, CCD Vermont Tuition Advantage. You support the request for 5 million if funds are available. The capital,
I want to say we support requests for up to. Or their request is, so the governor's recommend is 4, so I think we should say that we support, governor's recommends 1. They're requesting 5, so there's actually a request for an additional 4, right? Or are they looking for 6?
No, up to. Five total.
Okay. Where's your? How do you want to rate it?
One thing I think that would be worth noting is that the previous year was $4 million for them, because the way it reads right now, it looks like they're basing it on a much lower number. So that way it doesn't look like, okay, they're going from $1 million, they're trying to ask for an extra 4, they're really in reality asking $1 million over the previous year. So I think it would be good to specify that as well. I mean, just the way it reads, in my opinion. Because the governor was essentially taking the $4 million from last year and saying, okay, you know what, we're gonna cut down to 1 million now, even though they have increased enrollment for their programs.
Is that in base last year?
No, I think it's one time.
And this is one-time appropriation as well, right?
Yeah.
It's not base funding, it's just
Mhm.
one-time appropriation.
Okay.
If you're right, if it was base funding, we'd want to reflect that.
Thank you.
You want to priority.
I feel like I put this one higher. I like this program, I like the way that it's set up. Maybe a little more than some of the others.
And it's workforce, and it's workforce development.
Anybody else want to weigh in or we'll just take a
This
vote?
is. Yeah. I am also the income, household incomes that it really targets the benefits to me is a really strategic investment in working people.
All in favor of the high recommendation, raise your hand.
This is that. Both the jobs are high need jobs and the people are. So this is what we were talking about, we would like to see in the upskillings right now.
Why don't we we'll put the vote to, so next to the high, be 902. Right?
Yes.
And so
One vote just on,
yeah, so
moving this money.
this is what our recommendation is to do with that 350.
Yeah,
Film and media database and then
Right.
professional color network.
Everybody agree it's a high priority?
Hi.
yeah.
Okay. 902 again. Well, I guess, is there anybody that disagrees? Okay,
I'm sorry, just to go back, the priority, it might be confusing in the way it's worded. That we say we're not supportive of how the request and then we offer alternatives. But our vote is high.
so maybe what we need to do is move that.
Yeah,
We do not support the request at 350. And then underneath that is, here's what we do support.
Here's the better. idea.
Alternative. Is there
A better idea.
a better idea? Good.
Yeah, how do you,
Better idea.
Better
I
idea.
like it.
priority
Better.
of committee's idea?
alternative, priority of committee alternatives.
Proposal is probably the next one.
So I think I would
I like
take,
better idea.
I would take the first sentence away.
Support here?
Yeah, the committee is not.
No, keep that there, that's fine. The first sentence there,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
the committee recommend. Alternately, the committee recommends.
$150,000 be appropriated to? Like giving us such a
Yeah,
big word
yeah.
with money.
They get direct appropriation too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
CCD does.
Okay,
Yeah, and again, I would suggest it say committee alternative priority or some indication that if someone's just scanning this, I don't want them to.
Yeah.
Not that they would scan.
Priority of all.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
maybe 150,000 for the trade office in Montreal.
Yeah.
I think we've seen good numbers already in 2 years.
Fine.
Everybody good with a high priority?
Yeah,
I'm less enthused about this one, so we can do it. Let's drop vote first, but I.
I like this one.
812. Okay, there's nothing there that's the rate high or low, I guess we're just giving a recommend on the HCV. No, I don't think we need to give a priority. It's just a recommendation and go back. Same thing with the
Same thing.
ICC, right? And same as the recommendation of add some language to section law. Arts Council. I think I would say this is high because it's dry, it's just at their ability to draw down all the federal funds that are available to them. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, 902.
Federal money.
Same, what about with the Mayonnaise Council? I think as we have it.
Governor Sherman is 309 on this.
Yeah, but they also need another 3 to draw down all of their funding from that,
They need 301 time money
Yeah.
because of this federal grant
right?
for what? For climate resilience and adaptation.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the nexus obviously the climate resilience and adaptation planning makes me lean towards high, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Many of these
Everybody,
kind of
good.
iconic
902.
historic buildings.
right?
So what did I do here? I think yesterday we discussed this and I pulled language from, that's right, from the budget last year. And this was, I'm glad I caught this. I wanted y'all to look at this, make sure this is how you wanted to read. I have the act linked here in case you want to, I'll delete this once we're okay with it, but I had that there in case you want to look at the language.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, yeah, I remember that, that's what we discussed.
Yeah. Any priority on this one?
So, medium for me, I feel like it's maybe a little lower than.
Why do you think it's lower?
It's with this work, I just feel like it's a big ask and I'm maybe not as. I feel like the more that we say high, the more that it dilutes from the other priorities. So for me, I guess I'm just, it's slightly below the tuition advantage program and maybe it's only marginal.
I would agree, and because we also have done some significant investments in this in the last couple of years, more than we would normally have done in the non-COVID federal money
It's
tornado.
I don't know, in ways like this, it's almost unfortunate in the same way like I look at it almost like the PCB testing, like now we just know about way more brownfield sites, and so this is probably the time to put even more money in to remediate sites that we're now aware of all the hazards, but I just, knowing the type budget here, it's lower for me.
Right. But I feel like if we don't, I'm just thinking about towns around the state, that if we don't remediate these brownfield sites in downtowns, these are the places where it's easier to we need to rebuild these spots and clean them up and to just create economic development in not all downtowns, like mines, I suppose, but these are the places where we want businesses to build and we
Yeah.
need housing and all that kind of thing. So we can remediate these brownfields. I'm just saying Springfield, Rutland, Barry,
yeah, in support of what you're saying, Stephanie, there's likely been a large number of new brownfield sites created in the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's Blackwater.
Yep.
this is, we need to clean up.
Yeah, so I would actually rank it as high on reflection.
I would hope this would come through A and R and the Act 250 stuff and feeling like if we're gonna designate certain areas for development, that there is appropriate funding for developing those areas so that we can keep more of Vermont green, right? Like I just. Oh, this is one of those moments where having siloed committees feels
Yeah.
it's like a huge miss.
There are
That's the-
brownfield, there are brownfield money in other committees.
Yeah.
Too.
Well,
This
they
is,
look at ground. But.
But I was gonna
We
say-
rely more on EPA. Superfund site dollars, and this is the first time. Well, the last few years is the first time we've really spent a good amount of money into assessment. I think this money is all going to assessment. It's not for remediation, but
I think this is, I mean, I don't think it limits, but I think it can be any.
I think we changed, did the
Yeah.
language change last year?
well, we acknowledge that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this can be, I think this could go towards remediation or redevelopment. Is my
They
understanding,
say assessment remediation,
yeah. I think
but I
we,
mean, it not wasn't a big chunk of money for, I think it all went for
yeah,
assessment.
I think most of it did.
Do we ever say, 3 million versus the 5 million, or is that
Well,
there?
what we said was should funds become available, we support up to the full request.
But now that we're drilling down, do we ever do that as a committee, or do we just
Well,
pass that decision along or priority?
just the ultimate decisions with appropriations.
Yeah, the amount of money that
Yes,
goes.
they can. We're just saying if there's funds available, then put them here, but. Priority, medium, everybody good with medium, or you wanna take a double on medium and high?
I can't worry if every single one we do is high, then it sort of dilutes the whole purpose of having.
Well, although they're all pretty important.
Well,
yeah.
I know.
We do a
Yeah,
medium high.
I feel better with medium high.
You know what I mean? I hate to
I-
say this.
Yeah, I'm more of a medium rare guy myself personally, but.
$9 out of this appropriations, if this is our fund.
We don't even know if we get a budget.
I know,
This isn't in the
I
budget.
know.
This isn't even in the budget, we're already out of budget.
Which, all right, yeah.
Take a vote or?
I think you good with medium?
Oh, yeah.
I think Emma said that she was
She's good with
good
me,
with
right?
medium. So
Yeah, I
go
think we can see if we get confirmed.
small business technical assistance. You've heard how we voted for you. We said medium.
We put them in
Yeah.
our priorities.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, yes,
I don't know, yeah.
appreciate it.
Priority on this one?
I support this program, but I also vote medium.
Yeah, I guess I'm probably leaning in that direction. It's one of those that I like it. I think it's been super successful, but when you're gotta put it next to things, I feel like, I want to make sure that like the money to the Professionals of Color Network highlights a similar need, but to a more specific underserved population. And so I feel like that, to me, that's where I draw a distinction that, that money is a little higher priority for myself.
And it's not the only small business technical assistance. Those two programs are still not the only, this one and
No, yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There are other programs.
SBDC still has.
Right.
Yeah, and we're doing the micro business development.
Yeah.
Right, there's
Yeah,
the
those
Center
are-
for Women in Enterprise.
Yep.
Um, And maybe because this was started during in the COVID era, maybe it's been sort of wrapped into their services too. I don't know if this.
Yeah, maybe they've already stood up some of the infrastructure to do some of this work within their
Okay.
existing budgets.
Everybody good with medium
Uh-huh.
on this one? Okay. Priority on served learning area.
No easy decisions here, huh?
Oh,
What I really like about this program is that it's helping people to learn the skills that they need to learn to be successful in jobs. I think that that's something that we need more of right now. It's just a gigantic ask.
generally low income youth as well, and then young adults. And
Not all.
not all, but I think VYCC is.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly 18 and up, right? There's just a little bit that's 14 to 18, so it's mostly people
Is
who
that
are,
at risk youth or is that,
not all, but
but some are at risk youth as well?
yeah.
And I think we heard that it's also students that have a hard time learning the traditional way.
Yeah.
That just gives them the opportunity to learn in a way that is more understandable for them.
And it's adding right back into the economy,
Yes.
so it's a
Yeah. High priority for everybody.
Yeah,
This is the kind of programming that's outside of WIOA that I really think is
Yeah.
part of us getting a better grapple on workforce development overall, and the Creative Ways Vermont can really think about our specific needs. Our populations.
For business lending,
I think this is high. There's a proven track record of success.
it's something we've really supported over the years.
Very little money given to many, many small businesses.
That's how Switchback started.
Is it really?
I'd say maybe a high priority, like we did for the loan program. Just that it's a high priority for the alternative recommendation to their request.
Yeah.
Because we're saying that, I mean, there's three different kind of proposals here. The governors recommend their request, and then we kind of proposed a middle ground of salary increases that match, other increases in the budget. So just to be clear that I think we have a high priority towards the alternate committee recommendation.
Favorite program.
I think complete notes on better places.
Yeah, that's by design, I think.
Well, now's the time.
I talked to Tristan, he's not exactly sure what this strengthening communities and downtowns, he said that's actually TIF's corner of the budget. I talked to TIF, and she said that, this was sort of an area that, Tristan and her split, she's not exactly sure.
So I've also been reaching out, Gabrielle Stebbins is sending an email to ACCD and copying me so that we can get more information on that program.
Yeah, so Tiff was gonna get back to me just after she was able to run it down a little more, she couldn't tell me anything on the spot.
We can put a hold on this. But by tomorrow, we either pull it or rate it.
Yeah,
Upskill,
we don't really have a recommend here.
Oh,
I think we have lots of other better workforce skill programs that we've been supporting and.
Yeah, I think my thought was maybe just to not necessarily call out a recommend. It's not in the budget, it's not in the.
Can't really set a priority.
Maybe we note that though, it says like it's not in the budget and we're not making a recommendation.
Yeah,
I'd rather
that's
not-
what you said before.
I'd rather not leave it too vague, because then we'll wonder what.
Made no.
Committee got this request from. Received a request. Feel like we've said that before about.
Yeah.
Years past, just thinking about other requests that came through, we had a line about.
I
We
think
make
that
no
this works though,
recommendation.
too, the committee received a request and is not making a recommendation.
Well, I think we got a request up there. I think we just say, not in the governor's recommend, and we are neutral, and the committee is neutral on.
Melissa have seen the benefits of this program. Although it's,
Well, I think we said it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recognize the program value.
I think a lot of these programs are still during COVID and.
Can you continue them all?
Can we all continue them all? We'd love to.
And how do they need to change if they find a path?
We've kind of set some guidelines for if they wanted to kind of come in with a proposal, how we would,
There you go.
might be more supportive.
Committee does not take a position on this request.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
perfect.
Remount Jobs Retention Program, I think we've already spelled that out.
I'd say highest, like rev more than high, say highest.
Ultra,
Recommended.
ultra high.
Favorite.
Super high.
Favorite is.
Ooh, we can insert a star symbol. in word.
Underneath that, we could say priority. High of the highest. But I think we can, I think we can just put highest priority.
Yeah,
Okay.
Assume it's 9.
Yeah. And transitional housing. High priority. No,
Yeah.
oh, super F.
Oh, I'm just thinking we have a lot of highs.
that's okay, but I mean,
Not all.
if. I mean, we gotta be truthful, right? Are these, how do we? If this is what the committee believes we should be investing in, if there's money to invest. We have to
Absolutely.
tell appropriations that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's,
I don't think here we have to say anything, we're just supporting the governor's recommend. Education. That's just recommending going to the, back to the formula. My future VT,
Medium? Medium?
yeah,
my problem
it's a higher,
with going medium is that we've invested
committed in
Years.
ways.
We've invested 4 years, I think, into this program, and we want to keep it going. We don't want it to
Yeah,
Compared to some of the
tank
other things.
until they get.
if they don't receive funding, doesn't mean not. Not developing it further or not being able to support it. So I think those are kind of different things.
There's a lot of really good links on it that was poking around.
There
the
is.
website.
I think what we want to say, this funding should be supported within the Department of Labor's budget, right?
Yeah.
So,
Are we gonna highlight that this is, DOL will eventually be, is supposed to be doing this work or no? That this funding and programmatic work,
I think the committee believes this funding should be supported within,
On the labor's budget.
I think maybe we say, what is it?
And is it free?
Departments that the Department of Labor, prior to the Department of Labor, Department of Labor's it's a revamp of the job link program. or
Modernization?
Modernization of the job link program. The committee believes that this funding should be supported. Yeah. I think you can just move that second sentence down underneath that.
What about going forward at the end?
Well, I think what we say is, until the job link program, the job link modernization is complete. At
Completion.
the end. Committee believes that this funding should be supported within the Department of Labor's budget until such time as the job link modernization is complete.
Clean up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you can, now you can get rid of this first part. Alright. So read like this.
Just little bit down. Yeah.
I do think your question was a really important one, though. Is the money to maintain the website or to develop it further? Because I think that's, you know, if we have to do this again in the future.
Because- Yeah, well, it is, I mean, that's what Advanced Vermont is doing now is they're maintaining plus they're adding, they continue to add.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be the one dissenter on this. I just, as I stated before, it's a little more clearly, I don't love the fact that there's a private entity doing what the state should have been doing for years now. This has been famous since I've been a legislator, and so I just wanted to flag that this is not something I feel comfortable ranking high because I have these concerns around the Department of Labor not moving more quickly and figuring out what it needs to do to get job link where it needs to be much faster. So I would just like to be one there. Thank you.
We're good on I need the email, I haven't done that yet. I'll email this to Doug Farnham. And tomorrow I'll have a response for you.
Sounds good. It's just a small little piece that we really didn't get into the regular budget. Okay. Very good, Rick, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Not more after that.
That's good. It's
grouping. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So it might be a little longer than 3 o'clock tomorrow, but. Oh, well, you don't care.
So that's smile.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys will?
No problem with me.
Oh, whatever.
Last person in line.
I'm trying so hard to go for a neutral face night.